Queen Elizabeth I, Queen of England and Ireland, was born on September 7, 1533 in Greenwich. Her parents were Anne Boleyn and King Henry VIII of England. Elizabeth had two half-siblings, Mary and Edward VI. Elizabeth had many nicknames: Gloriana, Bess, Virgin Mary, Good Queen Bess, the Virgin Queen, and the Fairy Queen. While her older half-sister Mary lost her position as a legitimate heir to the throne when King Henry annulled his marriage to Mary's mother, Catherine of Aragon, Mary was later reinstated as a royal heir. Elizabeth was born a princess. However, her father revoked her title after he ordered her mother to be executed when Elizabeth was 2 years and 8 months old. Shortly after her mother's death, King Henry married Jane Seymour. Jane died shortly after their son, Prince Edward, was born in 1537. Catherine, Cat Ashley, was appointed Elizabeth's governess in 1537. They stayed good friends until Cat died in 1565. King Henry made sure Elizabeth got a proper education. Margaret Bryan was Elizabeth's first lady mistress, but in 1537, Elizabeth was under the care of Blanche Hubert Lady Troy, who served as lady mistress until her retirement in late 1545. Blanche Parry was Elizabeth's chief gentlewoman of the Privy Chamber. Blanche taught Elizabeth 4 languages: French, Flemish, Italian, and Spanish. When William Grendel became her tutor in 1544, Elizabeth could write in English, Latin, and Italian. He then taught her how to write in French and Greek. After Grendel's death, Elizabeth continued to be educated under Roger Ascham, an understanding teacher. She stopped her formal education in 1550 at the age of 17. She was one of the best educated women of her generation. By the time she died, she could speak Welsh, Cornish, Scottish, and Irish, as well as English. King Henry VIII died on January 28, 1547. His only legitimate son, Edward VI, was crowned on February 20, 1547. His reign lasted only 6 years. Upon his death, Elizabeth's half-sister, Mary, took the throne. At that point, Mary ordered Elizabeth to be imprisoned in the Tower of London. After a few horrible months of being imprisoned, Elizabeth was released. She was sent away to be watched by her half-sister. When Queen Mary died in 1558, Elizabeth took the throne at age 25. Elizabeth became Queen of England and Ireland on November 17, 1558. She was the 5th and last monarch of the Tudor dynasty. While on the throne, she would always say, "Video et taceo," which means, "I see and say nothing." Her reign was known as the Elizabethan era. She enjoyed attending plays written by William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe. Queen Elizabeth's reign was more modern than her father's and half-siblings. She feared that Mary Stuart, Queen of Scots, would overthrow her. So Queen Elizabeth had Mary Stuart imprisoned in 1598 and eventually had her executed. Parliament tried to get Queen Elizabeth to marry, but she never did, even though she received many proposals from men in Europe. She defended her virginity, but people say that she was in love with Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester. After the death of Robert Dudley's wife, Elizabeth was accused of plotting to kill her. Elizabeth and Robert never married because Robert married one of Elizabeth's cousins many years after his wife's death. One of Elizabeth's first moves as queen was the establishment of the English Protestant Church. She was faced with many religion differences. She made the Church of England an official religion, but kept some Roman Catholic traditions. She was very cautious in foreign affairs. She believed there were some conspiracies threatening her life, but no plots were carried out. She partly supported a number of ineffective, poorly resourced military campaigns in the Netherlands. Spain finally decided to attempt to conquer England, but the failure of the Spanish Armada associated Queen Elizabeth with one of the greatest military victories in English history. Even with this great victory, some military and economic problems hurt her popularity at the end of her reign. Some say Queen Elizabeth was short-tempered, an indecisive ruler, and always liked using more than her fair share of luck. Queen Elizabeth ruled through her Privy Council, which included men such as the Earl of Leicester, Lord Burghley, and later the Earl of Essex. On March 24, 1603, Queen Elizabeth died. At the time of her death, she was the oldest monarch to have ruled over England. While on the throne, she provided stability for the kingdom and helped forge a sense of national identity. She advanced the military of England and the Anglican faith. Queen Elizabeth I ruled her country effectively for 45 years.